Hello. Thank you for tuning in today with Hot Topics with Lady C. I'm your host today, and we're going to have a good topic that we're going to be discussing. So before we get started, I am going to ask that if you have any children in the room, little kids, that you would have them to exit out, because we're going to be having some adult conversations. That's why it's called Hot Topics with Lady C. So I give you a few minutes to remove your children out, whatever you need to do, but we got some good topics today. And we are going to be talking about, I've had some folks that reached out to me, some people that sent me some emails and some questions, and this particular subject that we're going to be talking about today, I was like, ooh, this is kind of a little deep, but Lady C will be able to talk on it. So before I get into the conversation, I'd like to start out saying that y'all can reach out to me at ladyadriancharles@gmail.com, or you can reach out to me at 972-897-0802. Once again, you can also, if you would like to be a blessing to the podcast, you can send it to $MYA 44 correction. That is $MYA 4400. $MYA 4400. And that is the Cash App if you would like to send something. Now we're going to be talking about what kind of sex should we be having. Oh my God. And then the next question that I got is, what kind of sex between a husband and wife? And is there limitations on sexual behaviors? Now, the person that sent these questions out to me, I sure hope you're watching Hot Topics with Lady C so that you can get your question answered. So we're going to get started with dealing with the first part of this question. What kind of sex should we be having? Y'all, I hear all kind of things in the streets. The freaks in the sheets, the freaks in the sheets. You know, just I heard some about rough sex, crazy sex. You know, let me just start by saying this. You should only be having sex with your spouse. I don't even want to use the word significant other, because first I'm going to go Bible based. Sex should only be going on between your husband and wife. And if sex is going on between a husband and wife, I would say however it pleases her or however it pleases him is the sexual acts that should be going on between a husband and wife. Now, we getting into the conversation part that everybody is not married. So we have people that say, my girlfriend, my boyfriend, my significant other. And if you are being intimate with your partners, I mean, the only thing I can say about that, first of all, if they're good enough to lay with, they ought to be good enough to marry. And you know, my thing is this, it ought to be mutual sex between the two. And the other thing is, it just needs to be, I say, decent and in order. First of all, if I'm not married, I'm sure not going to be allowing no man to treat me like no dog in bed. And that should be vice versa. If you're not married to her, she ain't got no business either treating you like a dog in bed. But the first part of the question was, what kind of sex should we be having? Well, I say it should be passion. Husband and wife, passionate sex. Why? Because the husband and wife need to be in love. And if you are feeling out of love, y'all need to be set back on fire and being sexually intimate. Should be doing that. It ought to be lighting the fire. It ought to be starting things back up. And so I believe that's the kind of sex that we should be having. Now, of course, we got different positions. Yes, we do. But the question was asked, what kind of sex should we be having? It should be clean sex. You know, we got people that is having sex and it's clean, and then we got folks that are having sex that's dealing with toys and so forth. Now, we got the kind of people that deal with that stuff. I can only talk from a clean standpoint. And I feel like that if you have your spouse, why do you have to bring in the toys? You know, but if that's what you like, okay. But I feel like that each partner should be able to satisfy each other, and it should be a clean environment with each other. Now, before I go into scriptures to back up some of the things that I'm saying, I was talking about what kind of sex should we be having and what kind of sex between a husband and a wife. It should be mutual. You know, and if something is uncomfortable with one or the other, it should be voiced. I mean, I'm not going to be allowing a man to do something to me that I'm not comfortable with, and it takes me out of my element. And it should be the same way with you men. Don't allow her to take you out your element if it's something that you're not comfortable with. Now, we're having adult conversations, and we know in the adult conversations being sexually involved, we know folks involve things into their sexual bed. We got things that I say that is clean, things that is disruptive, things that is freaky, and things that is just plain old disrespect. You got to find the bottom line where you stand at in your sexual involvement with the person that you're dealing with. And so it said here, is there some limitations on sexual behaviors between a husband and a wife? You know what? I say there are. And there is one sexual limitation, behavior. And I believe that should be, you should not be having it done in your behind. Now I know y'all saying, woo, this is why I asked y'all to have the children to leave out of the bedroom. I want you to know having sexual involvement in your behind is sodomy. It should not be happening and going. Now we know, you know, the other lifestyle that the people do, that's how they're doing it. But when it is between a man and a woman, I don't think you should allow the man to be having sodomy on you. Why? Number one is because it's an unclean act. You have bile that's coming out of your back, and you may have some people say, I like it like that. Well, I'm going to still tell you it's nasty, because you have bile that's coming out of your behind. The second reason why you should not be doing it is because it's a waste area. Why would you want your man to enter there into a waste area? You know, and then the third reason, the reason why I say we shouldn't be doing that, because it will hurt you. And you might say, no, it ain't gonna hurt me. I've been doing this for years. Then okay, I'm telling you, eventually, doing it like that will hurt you, because this is not how God designed us to be intimate with one another. This is just not how He designed it. And so, I mean, I would tell you that nothing shouldn't be in that area but when bile and waste is coming out of that area. That's the only thing. The only thing should be entering that area is when you go to the doctor and they do their check right there. And they have to enter their fingers or whatever they do to check. Other than that, nothing else should be going up in there. And so I'm just going to stand firm on that. We know everybody have their specifics, how they do things, how they handle things. But remember, this is Hot Topics with Lady C. And so on my show, I'm just going to tell you the right way to go. And I think that's a limitation of a sexual behavior that should not be going on between a husband and a wife. Now, I want to flip it over for a moment, because I also have another question. Is it a sin to be performing? And make sure, again, kids are not in the room. Because believe it or not, I'm getting these questions. And we have adults that don't know, that just want a little understanding, want another person's opinion and take on it. And so the next question been asked is oral sex a sin? Now, I will tell you this. I personally have read the Bible from Genesis to Revelation, and I have not seen in the Word of God where oral sex was a sin. Now, if this is with your husband and the wife, and that's something y'all desire to do, you know, the Bible said that the bedroom is undefiled, and I'm going to read that scripture. We're going to get into that. And if that's something that you two trust each other with and choose to do, I mean, I can't say nothing about it. But now, if it's just a basic relationship, girlfriend, boyfriend, or they say my significant other, I would say no. I would not be doing it involved. And if you would say, well, what's the difference between being a girlfriend and a significant other to the husband and wife? It's a big difference. Number one, let me state this. Girlfriend and boyfriends breaks up. Yeah, marriages break up too. But in the girlfriend and the boyfriend and the significant other, you really ain't got a secure commitment. They can just get what they want and walk away anytime. And then two, I understand marriages can break up too and go south. But girlfriend and boyfriends and significant other relationships tends to break up quicker than a marriage does. And so then the other part to that is, I would just say to the women, why would you want to, this is not your husband, this is a boyfriend. Ain't no telling how many partners he's been with, how many vaginas he's in. And then you want to put your mouth on that? But then y'all would say, well, girl, that's what soap and water for. Okay, this is where I got to draw the line. It can even be soap and water or Clorox. I can't do it. I would not be putting my mouth there. You know, there's just some boundaries that some of us have, and there's just some lines that other folks cross. So all I can tell you is what's right, what's biblical, and you know, as far as what I would and wouldn't do. And so, but once again, if it's between a husband and wife and they both consent and they both feel comfortable with that, I say go for it. Y'all husband and wife. Y'all got a contract on each other. Y'all got a covenant. So what y'all do is between y'all, let's just make sure that there is no others. Because what we don't realize is that when we are having sexual involvement, we are exchanging bodily fluids. So that means that if you with someone, a male figure, and he's sticking every Lisa, Tammy, and Michelle, well, he bringing them bodily fluids back to you. And that's the same thing, you know, with the women. Women, if you sleeping around and you got a partner, and you sleeping with every James, every John, and every Derek, I mean, he's shooting up his bodily fluids up in you. And then that stuff is mixing and contaminating with the significant other you with. I don't care how you say you go bathe, you go clean up, you go douche. Once those bodily fluids are injected in you, they're all up on your inside. You can only get the outside clean. That stuff is attaching to walls inside your body. And same thing with the male figure. It's attaching to walls in that woman that you're shooting up in. And then you want to come back and be with your woman. I will say this, we got to be healthy. We got to be careful on how we're doing with our sexual behaviors. Why? Because it's too much out here. The old saying is, you lay down with dogs, you get up with fleas. We got HIV that's circling around here. And if we notice, it's a lot of HIV carriers that they don't look sick, but they are carriers. So a lot of them are on medication and they're taking their medication, and that's why they're not looking sick. And then they're still jumping in our relationships knowing and aware that they are HIV positive. This is why we gotta quit jumping within and everybody and jumping from pillar to post. It has even come down nowadays that when you're gonna be sexually involved, you need to make your partner get tested. It has become that serious in 2023. We got a lot of people that have AIDS, and they know they have AIDS, and they're sleeping around with partners, and all they're doing is spreading this around. Not alone, let's just say that's got herpes, that's sleeping around with people and spreading these herpes. And I mean, when we talking about STDs, gonorrhea, chlamydia, syphilis, spreading this stuff around, sleeping with different partners. And a lot of these folks that you are encountering when you having more than one partner, a lot of them half the time ain't clean. If you are dealing with someone that is sleeping around with multiple partners, 9 times out of 10 they ain't clean. And 9 times out of 10 the women, you keep some kind of infection, whether it's a bacteria infection, whether it's a STD, or you might even get a yeast. Normally they ain't clean. And it's the same thing with the women. Normally women that's sleeping around, you know, the women will, you know, they might get up and clean themselves, but to me, it's just nasty. I say one partner. I'm speaking to everybody that's watching this. Buckle down and get you one man, one woman, one partner. Why? So you'll know who you're dealing with, because you got to look at it like this. If you sleeping around and messing around and you become infected, how you gonna trace back to who it is? Why? Because how are you going to? And why you need to be able to trace back. So that's why it's important that you don't have multiple partners, because you ain't gonna be able to find out who it is. And then if it is, you done spread it all around in between y'all. I've been seeing some stuff out here. Number one, it takes too much energy to be trying to be a player. The game been changed in the street. This dating game, those that's watching that ain't married and you dating or want to date, it's a mess out here. It didn't change. Even our men have changed. So the best thing to do, you better get to know the person you're dealing with, know your partner, and quit being so quick to sleep around. Because a lot of these men, a lot of the men they got a bet going on within themselves. How many women can I get? How many draws can I get? Now I ain't saying all the men, but I'm saying a lot of the men are like that. They count the cats that they can get. They count the cats that they can crawl into. And vice versa with some of these women. Some of these women is like, I hear women literally say this, not all, but some women literally say, if a man can do it, I can do it too. Let me see how many I can get. And I'm like, what? Yeah, I'm gonna get this one, I'm gonna get this one, and they're literally taking journals with this. They're making notes, they're keeping a list of the number. Why? Because it means something to them. So I would just encourage you, don't be a statistic, don't be that number out here. Don't fall in that category and into that group. Once again, this is Hot Topics with Lady C, and we're talking about what kind of sex should we be having, and what kind of sex should we be having between the husband and the wife, and is there a limitation of the sexual involvement with the husband and the wife? So right now, let's go to the scriptures. I know everybody not Bible based, but I'm gonna still give you scripture according to back up to what I'm saying, because everybody got an opinion. I have opinions too, but we want to be able to not only just give opinion, I want to give data, and I want to give information based off the word of God. So if we go to 1 Corinthians 7 and 9, once again, 1 Corinthians 7 and 9, Paul admonishes the unmarried to get married because they were burning with passion for another. Sex sets us on fire. So God says the place for it is in the marital bed. In other words, our sexual life should set us on fire with your husband and wife. We got a lot of people nowadays, they don't want to commit. They don't want commitment. And so if you don't want commitment, don't want sex. You have to commit, and it should be this way. And a lot of people may not agree with me here. If you don't want to commit, don't have sex. And I think you should only have sex when you can commit. Because when you are involved in yourself sexually, you are mixing up your emotions, getting them involved, feelings getting involved. And I don't care how somebody say, I'm good, I block that, I don't let that happen. Something wrong with you. Because we all human, we all wired, and we all have our emotional storage. And so when you involve yourself with somebody, whether you like them or not, you can't tell your feelings, don't get attached, because I'm finna do this sexual act. Sometimes we're just wired that way and things happen. And so Paul was letting us know, if you want to have sex, get married. It's better to marry than to burn, to be walking around here hot, just hot. This goes for the men and the women. Men, if you always hot and you can't control your second head, I call it the second head. The first head is here for the men, the second head is there. And if you can't control that, you need to find you a wife. That's why the scriptures said, he that findeth the wife findeth a good thing and obtain favor from the Lord. You just don't know. That's your favor, your sex, your favor. Her serving you, your favor, whatever you need her to do. And even for the women, quit walking around here hot. And look, women, let me make sure I say this clear. We ain't got no business looking for no man. We just need to keep ourselves up and just be found appropriate and let the men find us. We don't have no business looking for men. We supposed to just be ready and available. And I know some of the women will say, no, it ain't that many out here. These men and all this and whatever. You know what? Just take care of yourself. If you got a family, take care of your family. Do what you're supposed to do. And eventually, if it's meant for you to be married, God will allow that man to see you and that man to find you. One thing about it, I want to be seen, but I want to be seen by the right man. See, everybody got different pair of eyes, and I need the man to look through the right eyes. So Paul was saying that. And I want to go to this, talking about the bedroom biblically. Each man should have sexual relations with his own wife. See, men? That's why you ain't got no business out here in all these different beds. And each woman should have her own husband. See, women, you got no business in all these different beds. The husband should fulfill his marital duty to his wife, and likewise the wife to her husband. The wife does not have authority over her own body, but yields it to her husband. Now, I'm going to say something about that right there. That was just biblical said. The wife does not have authority over her own body, but yield it to her husband. So, wives, if your husband is asking you to ride him, he ain't out of order. Because you do not have authority over your body. Now, if you got some medical problems that you cannot ride your husband, now this is real talk. Once again, hot topics with Lady C. If we got some children in the room, we're going to ask you to let the kids leave out, because these are some adult conversation that the kids don't need to hear. If you have a husband that have asked you to ride him and you got some medical difficulties where you can't straddle your husband, then you need to get with one of your sisters and homegirls and ask for some help how to handle that. A lot of times why we can't straddle our husbands and ride them, because we got some bad knees. So what we need to do, we need to work on these knees and do something with these knees. Start doing some what they call them, like up and down, to kind of work on your knees. Stand up and then go up and down, because what that does is you working on the motion of your knees. Because wives, we do not want our husbands unsatisfied. You know, there's an old saying, if you ain't handling business, he'll find somebody that will. Now we hope your husband would not go out and commit adultery. But we want to, as wives, you want to find yourself to be satisfying your husband in every way that you can. So there was one suggestion on working the knees. Another, learn how to get your grip and hold on and do what you need to do. Because you got to remember, this is your husband, your man. So, and even if we switch that around. And so wives, if you ask these husbands to do something, man, come on now. Man, you gotta get with it, man. You gotta get with it. Now I know the men, they like the women riding them, and the men like doggy style. But if your wife say, hey, I don't wanna do it this way, I wanna do it this way, men, as long as it's y'all bringing differentness in there, and you learning how to meet in the middle, and it can't be one-sided all the time. I'm like, hey man, you're gonna have to give in sometime. This is your wife. You're gonna have to give in and please her. Because we got some women that don't like oral sex, and we got some women that do like the oral sex, man. And so all I can say to that man, if you one of them men that do not do oral sex, and then this is what your wife is desiring from you, then I'm gonna tell you, brother, you need to go on your knees and go talk to one of your homeboys, get your book. You need to do something, because this is your wife, your helpmeet, and you need to be able to satisfy her and take care of her. Why? Because this is yours. She belongs to you. So also, as we're talking about, I'm sorry that you're hearing the phone in the background. I apologize for that. But as each man should have his own sexual relations with his wife, and the woman with her husband, the husband should fulfill his marital duty to his wife. Husbands should always, and I say that go both ways. And the wife does not have the authority over her own body, as it said, but the husband. And so even as we go down to the next one, here in Hebrews 13:4, You know, God answers us and lets us know that marriage is honorable among all. Let's respect each other in marriage, what each other like and don't like, and we have to learn how to agree to disagree and then meet in the middle. That's the problem with us. We don't agree, and so then if we don't agree, we feel that we privileged, ain't got to do nothing. That ain't working stuff out. When you agree to disagree, then find some common line in the middle there that, hey, how can we fix this and work it out? Be honest, while a lot of marriages break up, it's either because of sex or because of finances or because of cheating. Those really the 3 reasons that marriages don't make it. I'm going to repeat it again. 3 things, the reason why marriages don't make it, because it's either sex, it's either finances, or it's either cheating. We know cheating is the number 1. We know if the finances ain't right, boy, that'll tear down a marriage. It really will tear down any relationship. And then we know if the sex ain't right, that's a problem. Because you're getting married to say, hey, I'm committing my body to you and you only. And I'm needing you to satisfy this itch and take care of it. So it's those 3, I call them common denominators. And so if we talk about that marriage is honorable among all and the bed undefiled, but fornications and adulteries, God will judge. Now don't get mad at me, this is biblical. Hebrews 13:4, go read it. Marriage is honorable among all now, and the bed undefiled. That means what you do in your bedroom is your business. But fornicators and adulterers will be judged. What that's talking about, fornicators? You just sleeping around, 2 and 3, 4 partners. And then adulterers. If you married, you shouldn't be desiring really nobody but your own wife, and why you should not be desiring anybody else but your husband. And if they say the thrill is gone, or if you falling out of love, then y'all need to rekindle the fire and do what it takes to rekindle that, because we're in the last days. Let me tell you, some women, it used to be easy to get a man. Ain't that easy no more. Statistics is saying it is 6 women to 1 man. You better keep the man you got and work with him and deal with him. And men, same thing. I know it's you, men, y'all can get women because we out here. We out here. You just about get anything you want. But everything that's available don't mean it's good for you men. So I would say choose carefully and stick with one, because I'm gonna guarantee you all them 2 or 3 different women you messing with, it's truly gonna be only one of them women that's gonna truly have your back, and that's truly the girl that you want to take home to mom. I'm telling you. And so as we go on now to the next thing is that we're going to talk about this, because we talked about Hebrews 13:4. And so now we're going to go and talk about that sleeping in the same bed. How important it is for a husband and wife to sleep together. Now, I've had people and I really have. I want y'all to look at me and hear me real good. I've actually had a couple that said they ain't even sleeping together. What kind of mess is that? I'm just sick of him. How can you get sick of your husband? How can you get sick of your covenant? Because your husband is your covenant. It's your covering as well. And so the Bible told us not to be doing that because it gives room for the enemy. So we need to work this thing out. Quit getting mad and shutting them off and putting them on the couch. And men, quit getting mad and holding your stuff back and ain't giving it to your woman. Work this stuff out and quit letting the enemy get in, because it's really childish. So sleeping in the same bed can be a spiritual experience for many couples, apart from feeling closer to your partner. Do you not know when you become intimate with a man and a woman, it brings a closeness? That's what can rekindle the fire. And I've even heard in some couples say, he ain't good no more. Well, when do we get married to enjoy it, and then when it ain't good no more, we just walk out? That's the problem with this generation. We really to throw in the towel, give up, walk away too quick. And to me, that ain't a couple. Because it did say until death do you part. So I don't care if it don't get good. You work it out, you fix it up, and you throw your flavor on it to make it good, women. And women, we know how to be creative. We know how to do things. So I encourage you women to get in there and do what you need to do. I even heard a woman tell me one time, say, I done tried all that lady see, and he won't change. It's still the same. So then, that's when you need to go in freak mode. I heard you. You may not be with it. I get you. It may not be agree. But if this your husband, whatever you need to do to keep him and to keep him interested, to wake him back up or to set him back on fire, whatever you need to do in your bedroom, go in freak mode. Because remember, this is your husband. And so I know y'all like, now Lady Charles, how you gonna tell us to go in freak mode? This is your husband. See, this is what I don't get with us. A lot of us have been in the church so long, and we think it's just plain and basic how we be intimate with our husbands and wives. The Bible already said the bedroom is undefiled. So I don't care if you're a missionary. If you want to go in there and put on your nurse suit and get your handcuffs with your husband, you better go do it. Because you think God looking down and frowning on that. He is not. He is not. What he going to be looking down on is that you holding back from your husband. That's going to be a problem to the Lord. So we have to be creative. Whatever we got to do to keep it spiced up, that's what we got to do. And so it says here, I also want to talk about that. How often should a husband sleep with his wife? That's another thing, because I've had couples saying that we don't have it regular. He working too much, or she work too much, or she be tired. I be wanting it all the time. She be saying, leave me alone. Look at me, man and woman. Stop this and make some time for each other. Because I'm going to tell you, men and women, woman, when you keep telling your husband you tired, you don't want to be bothered, listen, it's going to be a woman that's going to say, come on, I want to be bothered. And men, if you keep telling your wife, I work too much and I'm tired and I just don't got the energy, look, brother, it's going to be a brother that's going to step up, that's going to tell your wife, I got the energy for her. So y'all need to quit doing this and work this out. I hope the people that have asked me these questions is watching Hot Topics with Lady C today, because what you're gonna have to do, look, if y'all got to go to bed, you both, and sleep a couple of hours and wake up at 3 in the morning, you better make it happen. Quit allowing your man to leave the house sexually frustrated, and quit allowing your woman to leave the house hot and not interested. Quit doing this. We gotta stop this. This is how I call it the enemy or the robber is getting in and taking over in these relationships. Now it says the secret is to negotiate how many times a week. Y'all need to make a calendar. You got some folks that are we got some people. We got some people that are highly involved, and we got some people that got a low drive. So you kind of got to decide what your drive is and let the person know. And so you got to negotiate how many times, and just like in many areas in the marriage, sex and its frequency also require compromise. But studies shown that a weekly frequency is good. So if nothing else, you make sure every week you coming close with your husband and wife. You coming close to them every week. Every week there needs to be a coming together. You know why? Because we got jobs, we got kids, we get stressed out, we get overwhelmed, we dealing with stuff. And so every week you need to be able to come together to say, hey, I need strength from you, from the wife, and the woman say from the man, I need strength from you to make it work, to come together. I say to heal. I can even throw that in there, to even revive you. I can throw that in there with that too. So you got to make sure that on a weekly basis you are coming together with your spouse. So we have been talking about sex. Is there a certain way that we should be having sex? And is there limitations on sexual involvement with the husband and wife? And I hope I'm short today. I hope y'all enjoyed the little bit, because I wanted to just touch on this, because I know on the next program I wasn't going to involve this. And so I hope I've answered the questions. I'm going to tell you to be encouraged. Don't be frustrated. You can always fix a situation. as long as you're living, you always have the opportunity to fix it, to be creative, to resolve it, and to add to what's needed. I want to thank you for tuning in with Hot Topics with Lady C. And as I said again, you can reach out to me at 972-897-0802 or at ladyadriancharles@gmail.com. Or if you would like to be a blessing to the podcast, $MYA4400. Thank you for tuning in with Hot Topics with Lady C. And remember this, victory knows no defeat. Thank you.